Good morning, Southern Hang. Welcome to the Southern Hang podcast, where this week we're hoping we don't just say anything. Maybe we can do the right thing, possibly take our listeners on an excellent adventure. Nothing too big, but I do hope we stand and deliver. And most of all, we don't have any never ending stories. This week we're talking 80s movies and what are the flicks that you love to go back and watch, or maybe you forgot about and need to go back and watch again. Let's jump in with my favorite real genius, who is great at getting us all a little footloose. And if you get nervous, you can always lean on me. Red, take us back to the 80s, man, and what was Little Red watching back then?
Can we keep this going? Like, how long can we go in speaking in references? Well done.
I don't want to go first. I don't think I can follow that. Well done. Well done, Mr. Cotton. Well done, Esquire. That was very impressive.
Gracious.
So
it was the Good Morning Vietnam that had me nervous. But go ahead, fire down, my man.
I think you nailed it. Robin would have been proud, for sure.
Thank you.
So the task was 80s movies. And, as I stepped out this morning into the bright sunlight, I was trying to think about what's a good 80s movie. And I came upon something like this movie was so good they made a book about it. Well, maybe it was the other way around. But it's got a little bit of everything. It's got some eye candy for the fellas. It's got a little eye candy for the girls. It's got some brothers, right? So the Curtis brothers, I don't know if you guys know them, maybe not by their last name, but if I were to say Soda Pop, Dairy, and Pony Boy fucking Curtis, would you know what I'm talking about? Talking about the Outsiders.
Yeah, I know them guys.
Oh man. So I mean, star-studded cast.
That's a squad of a cast.
Yeah. So let's first off, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, right? Stud. Then you start to look at the cast.
Heard of that?
Diane Lane. I mean, come on now. You got Emilio Estevez, Tommy Cruise, Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, C. Thomas Howell, Ralph Macchio, and Matt Dillon. Boom, boom, boom. Check.
Hell yeah.
So I chose this one for several reasons. It's
hell yeah.
I feel like it's a great movie. Like if you watch it, it's probably a little bit dated as far as theatrics go and just overall acting, right? I don't even know how old these guys were when they made the movie. But it's kind of held a special place for
Ralph Macchio was 40. Ralph Macchio was 48 years old.
Is he like Rocky Marciano? Nobody knows how old he was.
Yeah, he was 48 then, and when he filmed Karate Kid, he was 66.
He was older than Mr. Miyagi,
right? Like
and still looked younger than everybody else.
Right.
Sorry about that. It's got a few things that I love, right? Like sunsets. Like I can't get enough good sunsets, right? They reference sunsets, and Pony Boy's talking to Johnny and make sure that Dairy's seen a sunset and everything else. He's not sure that he's ever seen one. The poem by Robert Frost about nothing gold can stay, and the phrase "stay gold, Pony Boy." Dating back, I don't know, 30, 40 years. Well, 30 years, I guess. Going through some life things, and that poem has kind of stuck with me. And watching Gunner evolve from a toddler to a young man, and just thinking about that poem. Life is fleeting, right? The seize the moment kind of thing. And it kind of just sticks with me. So that's the reason I think I went with that one. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I was almost getting a little emotional there. I feel like I almost went a little Craig, or maybe a little.
That's a great clip.
Dad Corner there needed a hug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some would say a hitch in the feels.
Some wouldn't understand it if you said it. So, Red, I feel like that's a movie you've gone back to. I feel like you knew and you talked about that movie even in college. Like that's been a movie that's been with you for a long time. Is that right?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. It came out in '83, right? So obviously well before we were ever in school. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, I feel like that was one that you were quoting, and had lines that you would throw out every once in a while, even in college.
For
In the
sure.
90s.
And our good friend Tommy Potts, we
That's
still talk
awesome.
about Mustangs, like how tough they are and all that other good stuff. So we still quote it to this day. So let's go around the horn. Let's see what else you boys got. Who wants to go next?
That's
I
awesome.
feel like you talked about before that, like you talked about the book. I feel like I watched the movie and it meant so much to me that I don't know, like fifth grade or something. I think I had to write a book report. I'm like, I'm going to write it about the Outsiders, like, because that way, I don't have to read the book. I could just watch the movie.
Don't even need the Cliff's notes.
But I think it was emotional for all of us, man. That's right, man.
That's great flick. C. Thomas Howell. That cast was just loaded, man.
Yeah, it was.
They're all kids, man. R.I.P. Patrick Swayze.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the rest of them are still around, right?
As far as I know, I feel like Ralph Macchio's
Who
got.
else is in that flick? Yeah,
Yeah,
all the rest of them are
absolutely.
still kicking, right? Ralph Macchio just turned 112 years old, and he's about to make his next Karate Kid movie.
He's just starting his career. That guy's just now taking off. Oh man, he's killing it.
And I don't think I caught on that Diane Lane is in there. So, I feel like everything just goes back to Lonesome Dove because she is in Lonesome Dove. So really it really is just 3 degrees of Lonesome Dove on everything. So, what do you got there, Mr. Wilding?
Well, I have wanted to keep it on the emotional side of things, as we tend to do. And the movie that I selected is equally as emotionally connected to me. It's on the other end of the decade, though. The movie I was going to talk about came out in like 88, 89. I feel like I watched it when I was like a sophomore in high school. I remember being on vacation with my dad and my stepmom, Kathy. And we shout out Kathy, by the way. She's a big listener of the podcast and listens down in Venice, Florida. But anyway, she says hi. She says that Craig Cotton's got the voice of an angel.
Well, thank you, Kathy. And we appreciate you tuning in.
But no, we were watching.
He definitely has a face for radio. I can tell you that much.
I feel like there was a Boys to Men like tribute getting ready to happen right there.
So anyway, the movie that I wanted to cover, I didn't catch it in the theaters, but I remember watching it on cable, early days of cable, while we're on vacation. I remember coming into my hotel room. Clearly, this was an emotional connection. I remember this level of detail. And I came in like at lunch or something, and they thought I was just grabbing something and coming back to the beach. And I sat down and watched this entire movie. My family comes in like, what happened to you? And so then I had to call my buddy Mike Grigonis, and I was like, Mike, have you seen this movie? It's so good. And he goes, Neil, I just watched it through the wavy lines on the HBO that he doesn't have. Back when, and the movie I'm talking about, the emotional strength of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, party on, dude.
So I know I already referenced that movie back a few episodes ago. I don't remember when it came up, but to me, that's it's the single most quotable movie, at least in my repertoire. I'm pulling out like all kinds of quotes, strange things afoot at the Circle K. I talk about, to me, the scene in the whole movie, it's like obviously a time travel. They go back and they got to pass their history report or whatever. And they go back and pull all the historical figures back into modern times. And they go and they have to, they're introducing the historical figures as if they're their buddies. And so just to let you know who they were traveling with here, it was Dave Beethoven. Mm-hmm. It was Maxine of Arc, Herman the Kid, Bob Genghis Khan.
Hell yeah.
Socrates Johnson.
Socrates.
I'm confident that's been a fantasy football team of mine before. Socrates Johnson. Dennis Frood, and then they go,
Rude dude.
and then they go, Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham.
So anyway, it spawned a sequel that was just as good. And then hell, over COVID, they made a third movie that was actually really good. Obviously they're kind of cornball movies, but they hit home, and still to this day I watch it a couple times all the time.
Can we put Wild Stallions on the playlist?
Well, I could certainly pull some tunes from the movie. I remember the scene where they're in the mall and all the historical figures are all running around. That's extreme. Little Nuno Betancourt on the guitar. The soundtrack is very dated, but the movie is not. The movie is timeless.
Put him in the Iron Maiden. Excellent. Execute him. Bogus.
I could keep
Ted. Ted, don't be dead, dude.
And then
I watched that movie. I watched that movie too many times.
And so then, I love it that Bill is always ragging on Ted because of his hot stepmom, who's like, 20, just like, he's like, remember when she was a senior and we were freshmen?
Dude, she's dating my dad.
Well, and then the sequel, she divorces Ted's dad and marries Bill's, and it's great stuff, man. Classic writing.
Reference them by their full names, please.
That would be Ted Theodore Logan, and
Bill
S. Preston
Esquire.
That's right. That's where I used to, when I talked to Tom Potts, I've always said that. I always used to say Craig S. Cotton Esquire. Yeah.
And I could wax just as much poetic about the second movie, but that's a 90s movie, so we'll save that one.
We'll come back. That's another episode altogether.
Bill and Ted.
Sherman, what kind of movie you got? I'm sure that you've got one. Go ahead, Red. What were you saying, Red?
I was going to say, Bill and Ted had two very different professional careers.
Oh, the actors.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves. Not only did he just take off, but he's also got a music.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Like if you haven't, I know the what is it, Dog Star is the name of the band.
Yeah.
Saw them actually in Cincinnati. I think it was like 2002, 2003. Yeah. Crazy. Plays bass. He literally just turned around and did not face the crowd at all. Faced the drummer the entire time and just played.
Oh, so Jim Morrison action.
It was really good. They were really good, but yeah, they have had two completely different careers. That is a fact.
I thought you were going to talk about how they got fired from their selling pretzels at the mall job.
That is. We could keep going here.
That's about
oh, sure. I know that you are just as emotionally invested. So why don't you, keep us down emotional lane?
Mine is not on the emotional level. I went with a comedy horror film. It is a film that has both Corey Feldman and Corey Haim in it. Kiefer Sutherland, Jamie Gertz. Looking at this, Jason Patrick is in the film. It's The Lost Boys.
Yes.
And comedy, when I say comedy, and you put Corey Haim as the kind of the straight guy to Corey Feldman just being a absolute chaotic, crazy person. The film is awesome, but vampire film, the family moves to Santa Carla, California. And, just chaos ensues as they figure out they're in the, murder capital of the world, as is quoted in there. And I think it even, the grandpa to me still to this day with all the stories around him, conspiracy theories of he was actually a vampire in the movie, all kinds of stuff. I love it. And if I'm ruining the film for you, sorry guys, it's been 40 years. So if you haven't seen it yet, spoiler alert. But his quote in the if all the corpses buried around here were to stand up all at once, we'd have one hell of a population problem. is still just, I love that movie. I love it. So that's mine.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
I'm trying to
Jason,
remember the soundtrack, and I feel like there's like an awesome song, and now I can't remember it.
You just remember the guy playing the saxophone on the beach. That's what you're picturing. If you remember this.
Isn't am I wrong here? I'm probably wrong. Does Bill S. Preston? He's in.
He
is.
He's in
that movie.
He is in
Yeah.
it. So
yeah, he's one of the
he is
vampires.
he's one of the Lost Boys. Yeah,
that was before he played poker with Herman the Kid, and
that's right. That's exactly right. You are accurate. I forgot about that. That is true. And I just watched it again about a week ago. So,
by the way, bands on the soundtrack: NXS.
Oh yeah.
Roger Daltrey, Echo and the Bunnymen with a "People Are Strange" cover. Maybe that's what I'm looking at. Anyway, I think it's that NXS song, like that "Good Times." Like that's what I'm remembering. I think. But go ahead.
No, that Echo and the Bunnymen cover. That's in the cave. I think when they're showing at the very beginning when they kind of step in, and it's the you're kind of learning that they're vampires in the first place, and kind of it's the discovery of everything.
When they're all dangling off the bridge,
I think that's
that scene too. When they're hanging under the bridge and they all drop off into the dark. That movie's great, man.
Yeah, it's
another R.I.P. Corey Haim, man. That dude was straight every 80s flick out there, and then him and the other and Corey Feldman is now. We're not putting his music on the playlist. He's got his own band and doing all kinds of stuff. But
Neil,
Corey Feldman.
You mentioned Mike Gergonis. There's a quote in there that Beam used to say, Brian Beam used to say to Gergonis, and this would be late at night after already having probably one too many drinks, but he would say, "Drink this, Michael, become one of us." Still to this day, I still think about that quote. But anyway, good stuff. Good stuff.
Jason Patrick was man pretty. That dude was on covers and teen mags and all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's a good flick. All right. Well, my movie.
What you got, Cotton?
Has all the quotes that you can also use. Maybe can go head to head with Bill and Ted's, but my movie has fencing, biting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, and miracles. My movie is Princess Bride.
Yeah, it is.
Love Princess Bride, man. Billy Crystal, Andre the Giant, Robin Wright, Fred Savage. Yeah, his the grandpa telling the story to Fred Savage when he's in bed, and then reading the book to him, and then that man, I can watch that movie at least once a year. I watch Princess Bride, and that one's got so many quotes, that I laugh. Inconceivable. You keep saying that word. I don't think that word means what you think it means.
You stop it. I mean it.
Yeah.
Anybody want a peanut?
Anybody want a peanut? Yeah. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Oh man, that flick that goes all over the place. And I read the book years after I watched the flick, and the book is written the way that the movie goes, and so the book is a reflection of the kid going back and reading the book when he is an adult and picking up the book so he can read to his kids. And then when he picks up the book, he's like, none of this is the way that my grandfather told me. And he's reading the book. And so when you read the book, he goes, the book goes into like 20 pages talking about this woman's dress. And my grandfather would just skip over that. I never knew that the book talked about the 20 pages. And so he said, I rewrote the book, and this is the way that the version of my grandfather, and that's the way the book reads. And it's him editing it based off the way that his grandfather would tell him when he was a kid. And so the book's written like he went back and read the book when there actually never was an original book. But he was like, so there was 20 pages based on this woman's dress. He goes, but that was kind of boring. So we skipped all that and moved ahead to moved a part of this story. And yeah, great book also. If you ever get a shot to pick that one up and read it. But yeah, cool flick. That Princess Bride always takes me back, man.
That movie is amazing, and there's a lot of quotes in that movie. One that I use on a weekly basis, especially during political session, legislative session, is whenever anybody will talk about a bill dying or a bill being dead, and it's only mostly dead. We still got a chance, guys. We still got an opportunity here. So, yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Well, hey, I went through and did a little, and I thought maybe I'd just throw out some other flicks. I went out and did some honorable mentions that I thought, man, what are some great flicks, and we just wanted to yap on them. But Hoosiers, Romancing the Stone, Young Guns, Scarface, Untouchable. Now the big one, which I'm sure everybody was a big fan of, was Rad. Did y'all watch Rad? The young
bike
kid from the bike show.
Yeah.
Crew Jones, dude, Crew Jones. And then he goes and they do the dance there's like the school dance that they do. And then him and Lori Loughlin, who ends up becoming the future Mrs. Uncle Jesse from Full House, they do this bicycle dance to the song Send Me an Angel. And I thought that was the coolest shit of all time. Like when I was a kid, I'm like, I got to learn how to ride a bicycle, and dance with my girlfriend at the same time. But it was like I guess I got to learn how to ride the bicycle first, and then I got to figure out how to get me a girlfriend, and then will this girlfriend know how to ride a bicycle like that, and we can go, to the school dance and do that. So
I feel like I had the same connection to Breakin'. The movie Breakin'.
Electric Boogaloo.
That was a sequel.
Electric Boogaloo was two. That was two.
Oh man,
that's right.
Oh man.
So
I remember trying to. Oh yeah, go to Rad. Fine.
No, Rad. I think that single-handedly made everybody go out and buy pegs for their bikes. I think everybody had to have. That was the thing. It was like you had the bike. That was one thing. Then you had to have all the cool little accessories and everything. But the pegs, even if you couldn't do tricks. If you had the pegs, you still looked cool. Like you didn't need
black and white checkered Vans.
That's right.
I had the black and white checkered Vans. I had to learn how to do an endo. I could pop the front.
See, breaking, you just had to go get a cardboard box.
Yeah. All I could do there was be the dude on the sideline that did that little funny dance. I could never jump in the middle on the box, but I could just sit around on the side.
You weren't Turbo or Ozone. You were. It was Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme has a little cameo in that off to the side.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you go,
I did.
For listeners, if you want to go back and watch that, you can see JCVD in there off to the side.
I don't even have JCVD in my repertoire. I can't even pull that out. Now I'm jealous. I did own a pair of parachute pants. I had a maroon pair of parachute pants. I didn't have enough money to have multiple, so I only had one pair of maroon, and you couldn't just rock those every day. So I'd have to rock those once every other week. Just so that I wouldn't. People are like, come on, dog, you can't be wearing the same pair of parachute pants, every day. Yeah. I would be jonesing for when I'm like, okay, it's been long enough. I can break the parachute pants.
Yeah, the parachute pants, and then they started doing the knockoff ones with like extra zippers, and you'd see people that have those, and you're like, those aren't the real deal.
No, and you had the ones that were like multiple print. Like, so to your point, maroon is one thing. If you're trying to rock some like tiger print, whatever you got going on, it ain't gonna work, man. That stuff ain't happening.
That had the zippers.
That's exactly. Which maybe that was the point. I don't know. Maybe
probably.
Hey, awesome. Talking about the hitch in the fields. What about a song? Sherm? You got a song that like
I got a song.
Hey man, it comes on the radio or whatever, and you're like, dude, that was 6th grade, or this is man, that takes me back.
I got a song that I was late to. So let me be very clear. I was late, and I was late to this artist in general, even though he's a huge artist. But he had come out in the 70s. You guys have all seen him in concert. I haven't. We've talked about him before. He's now one of my favorites. But it's Bruce Springsteen, the boss, and the song is The River.
Oh, okay.
I was in the it was in the 90s at least, and I'm thinking it was probably like junior senior year when I kind of started really listening to his music and giving him a real shot. Because when I heard Born in the USA and all the the songs that were like the radio hits, they were good. It just wasn't my type of thing. And then I got into some of the stuff that's off the I don't want to say B-sides, but some of the stuff that wasn't as much airplay. And this is it's been a song that just kind of stuck with me. I think arguably one of his best songs. I think there's people say that they've always got their favorites, but the song itself just back to the emotional side of it all is just amazing. Love it.
Yeah, I wish they do more deep cuts of his, just because the radio play songs are great, but man, his deep cuts are way better.
There's a live version of The River. I think it was on that box set he put out. It's like a 10-minute version. He tells a whole story, which that's part of him in concert, is the stories that he tells.
Mm-hmm.
Great tune. Man, I love that one. You surprised me, Sherm. I didn't know you were going there.
I'm telling you, he is, everybody, and if you're into music, you've got your list, your short list of people you haven't seen, and kind of your wish list of who you could see on tour or live. And I've missed him it feels like every time there's an opportunity, it's just, I can't get him. And this is, it's a song that just, it is emotional, but it is amazing. So
I talked to, I mentioned my dad when we went, in my Bill and Ted story that we were on vacation. He actually spoiled me, because the first concert I ever went to was in Freedom Hall, and it was Bruce Springsteen on the Born in the USA tour. And yeah,
I think we're looking at his butt over your right shoulder right now. I think we see Bruce's album cover.
Yeah.
For the few viewers that maybe get to see us on YouTube, if this one makes it to YouTube.
You are. It's right there. And in fact, that vinyl was a repress. Actually, my dad gave me that for my 50th birthday, and he wrote a nice little note about it, about that concert and the connection we've always had over Springsteen. So Sherman, I hijacked your story, man.
No, buddy. And I actually thought you were going to come in. There is a thing that I had read about him, is that the story is actually about his sister and her. It's a true story of his sister, and he played it in front of a live crowd when she first heard it. So I went back and kind of read this, and he wrote it as a tribute to his sister and brother-in-law. And they're still married. They got together in high school, as the song kind of alludes to and gets into. But all the things that are going on, and again, they're still married. It worked out, which is awesome. But the very emotional piece to it all. So
yeah,
you're the one that always knows all the backgrounds on the stories, but this is one, man, that's it's a good one.
That's cool.
Oh yeah. If we ever get regular at posting on YouTube, I'm hoping that maybe some listeners will start looking for the Easter eggs in Wilding's frame, because he's changing out albums in the back behind him, and he changed out for some 80s albums in honor of this episode. So what we got going on back there? Alabama? What?
Yeah, I've got Alabama. I got the Eurythmics.
Hell yeah.
I got the Replacements, Tim. Got some Dolly Parton, 9 to 5 soundtrack.
Hell yeah, I love Dolly.
Little John Cougar, Mellencamp, Scarecrow. I think all those are 80s.
He was Mellencamp at that time. He just Cougar. Or
this is
just he's all of it. He's got the whole lineup.
Yeah, this is Scarecrow. This is when he got street cred. The rest was all poppy. This is a good one.
It's great. It's a great album.
That's when he added the Mellencamp.
He's still touring and doing it. He's amazing still in concert. I just saw him last year. That dude is amazing. With Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan, and he still hung in there with all of them. I mean, it was pretty impressive.
People forget, and we're talking 80s music. I mean, he sold a ton of records too. He was very popular on MTV, and His, you probably would think, you probably wouldn't think of him when you think of some of the powerhouses of the 80s, but he was up there, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So saw him down at the Bat Stadium with Willie. That was a great concert.
It's crazy. They're good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really good.
Any Wilding, any of the song or the song that you want to discuss? Is it on the album covers behind you, or is it
It is,
independent?
the artist is, and when I talk music, man, it just take note. I'm gonna have to go for a little bit here, so
Oh, we love it. Man.
Clear out the lane, guys. I'm gonna try and go one on one.
Go on. Me and Kathy are just gonna sit back here and listen to each other.
So, like when this is a tall task, just identifying one song from an entire decade. So I start thinking about the 80s, and it's like, what does that represent? Is it like rock bands learn how to play keyboards? You had the hair metal. But for me, I wanted to kind of camp out and talk, like back then they called it like college rock or modern rock. And it was really the precursor to what became alternative music. And that's really the type of music that I probably go back to more than anything. And so, bands like the Smiths, like U2 and Excess, we mentioned earlier on the Lost Boys soundtrack, those were all pretty big bands that I listened to or that were a big influence. But the number one band that I listen to still more today than any, I remember being in like biology class, sitting next to my buddy David Wildey. And David and I, in high school, we always sat next to each other because our last names are almost identical. So we always had to sit next to each other. He has good taste in music. And he introduced me to a band called REM.
Mm-hmm.
And REM has had like 4 different careers all in one. I mean, originally they were like one of the original indie rock bands. Athens, Georgia. They were like a Southern rock band. Hell, they got 4 or 5 albums on independent label. But then they became like an anthemic rock band. They were big, and then in the 90s, they became one of the biggest like pop rock bands in the world. But for me, when if I'm going to pick one song, it's like picking one, from kids here. I decided to just pick a song from where it all started. It was the first song that they ever put out. It's a song called Radio Free Europe. It was ultimately on their debut album, Murmur, which is one of the best debut albums of all time. In fact, the B-side is called Sitting Still, which is a kick-ass song too. But I heard that song because David let me borrow his tape, his REM tape. It was Eponymous, which was their greatest hits. Just to tell you, like how big they were. They had a greatest hits album before they released like 3 or 4 albums that would go on to sell far more than anything they had put to that date. So anyway, Radio Free Europe is the tune I'm adding, and I think that's like the birth of alternative rock as we know it today.
All right.
Have you?
I am gonna, and not to take away from your flow of your here, but you throw out big words and it messes me all up. Can we go back to that
anthemic?
Anthemic.
Anthemic?
I ain't got that one, buddy. Yeah,
anthemic. It means you can use your right and left hand. Anthemic.
Oh, I got that.
You're fine.
I thought I had that word. Yeah, I knew that.
I thought you were gonna ask about Eponymous.
Hip hop eponymous. That's the name of my night or my hip hop playlist on Spotify. Hip hop eponymous. If you want to tune into that one.
Neil, have you seen?
I don't know that one either.
Have you seen REM? Did you ever get to see REM in concert?
I saw them headline Austin City Limits Music Festival at Zilker Park in Austin, Texas.
Oh,
and
Park.
It was that was early on in that festival's days, so it was like late 90s time frame.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Were they at a Lollapalooza? Did they play a Lollapalooza?
No.
And Michael Stipe said they're not getting back together, right? That is like a band that we're not going to get to see.
I mean, he's more focused on other medium of art.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Amazing band, though.
And he's a legendary dude. I mean, he was I mean,
Is there some top secret knowledge you can give me? Does REM just mean sleep stuff, or do they have some backstory to what REM means, or is there like some deep non-knowledge that Craig doesn't know? But Wilding's been like, dude,
no.
you should know that doesn't actually mean sleep. That means something else.
I think it just means rapid eye movement and cool ass name for a band.
Copy. Got it. Well, I appreciate you breaking down the letters anyways. I don't even know if I knew that. Ambidextrous. Got it.
Anthemic.
I'm right.
And
right. My bad. I'm writing this down. All right.
Amphibious.
Red, where you at, brother? What takes you back,
there.
man?
Red, what song you got?
What you rocking to, man?
Yeah, well, so like I feel like you guys have touched on a couple of things, right? So when I think about 80s music, I start to think about like MTV, and this is back, when MTV actually played videos as opposed to all of the shows that they have today, right? Like I think about like groups like Devo, and I know we still got one more to go here. So like Duran Duran, Thomas Dolby, She Blinded Me with Science. Like to me, those are like the 80s songs. But the one that I went with, they were ranked number 5 on VH1's 100 Greatest One-Hit Wonders of the 80s. And the song was originally released in the 60s, but they did a cover of it in 1981. And for whatever rhyme or reason, just makes me feel like an 80s song. But I'm going to go with Soft Cell, and the song is Tainted Love.
It's a bop.
Yeah,
it is. Song. That is a good song. That isn't, and that feels 80s.
It is a bop.
Like that song, you just like, yeah.
It does feel 80s.
That would be in the category of rock band learns how to play keyboards.
Well, that was a big thing, right? The 80s had everybody had to have a synthesizer or the whatever you call a guitar that has a piano on it, whatever that is.
For the listeners at home,
a guitar, you got
the Chaminator. Y'all remember the Chaminator?
You gotta have one of those. I don't think Bill and Ted had one of their bed. They did have the synthesizer. The Wild Stallions, the girlfriend played the keyboards, but she didn't have the
from medieval
guitar.
England.
Yeah. All right, and first song ever played on MTV?
The Bungles. Video killed the radio.
Video killed the radio star. Yeah.
Bungles or whatever.
Yeah, I couldn't have known the band name, but yeah, Video killed the radio star. Badass. Well, I wanted to be silly, but I am gonna, in Wilding fashion, I'm gonna hijack and I'm gonna put 2 songs on the playlist. So because I did bring it up, but that Crew Jones dance song, "Send Me an Angel" by Real Life, is going on the playlist. But that was more silly. But my classic, very classified, very, very, very 80s song that makes me feel 80s. I went with "Everybody Wants to Rule the World" by Tears for Fears. That song always makes me feel middle schoolish, 80s, kid level. So that but Tears for Fears is what I'm adding to the playlist.
That is also a very 80s feel of a song.
80s hairdos.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were going. I didn't know if it was going to be a serious conversation, if you were going to break into like some Weird Al Yankovic type, like just, hey, this is a real meaningful, just big song, and then just go into Mike, what's the Michael Jackson Fat instead of Bad.
I'm a serious guy, Sherman. I'm a very serious person.
Well, Kathy likes your voice. That doesn't make you serious.
Yeah. On tonight's playlist, Tears for Fears. Yeah.
Actually, I'm liking it. Just keep talking, man.
She's on to something.
Yeah, this can work out.
Top 10 this Sunday on the Southern Hang playlist. Tears for Fears, followed by Tainted Love, Soft Cell.
Love it.
This is not nothing to do with the 80s, but speaking of the Southern Hang playlist, our boy Colt's got his crack cocaine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he does.
he
Good call.
talked about that song.
I need to add that on there.
Yeah, he talked about that song on our when we interviewed him, and it's streaming now, and it's a great version. It's good, great tune. I mean, I think Craig, when you talked about it and you interviewed him, you talked about how much that song hurt, and it does hurt. But
It does hurt.
Yeah,
That's a great song.
but it's a good tune. So, congratulations, Colt. Keep doing it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know that I'm going to be able to tie it in, but guess who just booked a game in Pennsylvania tonight? I'll be watching the Phillies play on the 28th, the 28th. But don't know that I'll be able to swing over and see our do or not. But I will be. We'll be catching a baseball game up that general area. So have to see if he's somewhere near Philly. Maybe I can catch him.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're still looking to try to get our trip up. This group, our foursome, up to West PA. We need to get up that way. But he's touring. He's got like several different things he's talking about. I think, Neil, weren't you saying that he's got festivals he's hitting?
He says he's going to hit Nashville for a little bit, and he's got some festivals.
That's awesome.
I mean, I think the full album will be out later, and so hopefully he's making the big time circuit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got to go. We got to go catch him. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I will say there's a for hitting back on the movies. Goonies is having its 40-year reunion. They're doing a deal on a film festival in Astoria in June. I think it's like June 4th through the 8th or something along those lines, which is pretty crazy to just in Oregon where they filmed on the coast. That's pretty amazing though. Just back to an amazing 80s film and that gets quoted as well. Just a strong.
What's the dance he has to do to get in the gate?
The truffle shuffle. Heck
the
yeah.
Truffle shuffle. Any chance one of y'all will stand up and do that for the camera for the YouTube video? There's like only there for our 88 listeners at home. You're probably not going to see it much. Somebody can do the truffle shuffle. That'd be awesome.
If you're only watching or only listening to this on Spotify, you might want to come over to the YouTube,
to the YouTube
right now.
Well, yeah. Tune into Red doing the truffle shuffle.
I think Goonies showed me that like kids could cuss. Like the fact that like 12-year-olds were cussing, and I think I was about 12 years old when I saw this movie when it came out. Was hilarious. And then of course the infamous Statue of David scene.
Yeah.
That's what I remember most about Goonies. It's not all the adventure, but the fact that 12-year-olds were cussing and it was hilarious, and they broke the Statue of David.
Yeah,
in the spot you shouldn't break it.
That's the back to the truffle shuffle when Chunk is talking and he's explaining he's like, "Tell me everything. I need to know everything." And he's okay, when third grade, he starts talking.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And I blamed it on the dog. Oh, so good. Anyway,
that's got a hell of a lineup too. Thanos is
Josh Brolin
in that flick. Yeah, Josh Brolin. Yeah, that whole
and Corey Feldman.
That's right.
Yeah,
that is right.
And what's our boy
Austin.
from Rudy?
Austin.
Sean Austin.
Yeah, Sean Austin.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, Sean Austin.
Yeah, the movie is
sweet. Yeah, that's great.
Now
I feel like
I also have like Goonies also makes me think about Star Wars a little bit. Did anybody check out the because they had the like kind of the kids show that came out like last year, Skeleton Crew, and that was just one big tribute to Goonies.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, yeah, and my son at the time 10, now 11, but watched that with us and loved it, and I can't get him to watch Goonies. Like I'm like, it's buddy, if you like this, you're gonna love Goonies. Like let's go. So,
it's kind of a segue, but one of our buddies' kids, because of the Cobra Kai TV show, doesn't want to be on Team Miyagi. He won't go back and watch the Karate Kids, but he loves and he wants to be completely Cobra Kai. And I'm like, dude, you got to go back and watch the original Karate Kids. And he's like, nah, I'm Cobra Kai. I only watch the TV show. And I'm like, hold up, man. Like, but he hadn't seen seen those. So we gotta educate some youth.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I might be just Team Cobra Kai now too. I mean, it is what it is.
It's a redemption story for the ages.
Johnny's pretty awesome, dude.
Buy you a Z28 Camaro.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Let's go.
We need to now play some AHA.
Take
on me and have that play us out of this episode with some AHA. Take on me. That'd be that feels fitting.
Featured on a recent episode of Last of Us was phenomenal, by the way. If anybody, man.
I'm only at episode 3.
Stop.
Episode.
That's not a spoiler. It's just it's a cool.
All right.
It's a very cool scene. You'll enjoy it when you get there.
Oh, very good. Yeah, very good. We watched episode 3 last night. So. Well, boys, this was fun this week. It was good talking to y'all. So I think we need to shut it down and party on.
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah, be excellent. Yeah.
Party on, dudes.
Yeah. Be good, boys.
Later, guys.